Are you a freshman looking to kickstart your college journey? What about a senior looking to make the most out of your last year? You've come to the right place. This is Alpha Kappa Psi, the professional co-ed business fraternity. Welcome to Alpha Kappa Psi, where you can discover brotherhood, elevate your career, and invest in your future. Pledge Alpha Kappa Psi Fall 2021. Who is Alpha Kappa Psi? We were founded at New York University in 1904 with the idea of shaping students into business leaders. We became a co-ed organization in 1976. Our Untitled Chapter here at the University of Michigan Dearborn was founded in 1966 and revived in 2014. It is currently represented by about 60 active brothers and a very, very long list of alumni. What do we do in Alpha Kappa Psi? It really boils down to four things. The first is networking, the second is professional development, the third is brotherhood, and the fourth is leadership. Today, we'll hear from some of AKPSI's finest talking about how these certain aspects have impacted their career. In Alpha Kappa Psi, we do a lot of networking. We do this with Fortune 500 companies, alumni, and each other. One of the best examples of a networker we've had in our chapter is Chelsea McWilliams. She was the Vice President of Membership in 2018, and I've asked her to come today to speak on how networking has impacted her career.
My name's Chelsea McWilliams. I graduated from U of M Dearborn in April of 2019, and I majored in finance. So got a bachelor's in business administration, and currently I'm working at General Motors. I have been with General Motors since I graduated, so the summer of 2019. It's been about a year and a half now, and I'm a financial analyst. I joined AKPSI pretty much when I started college, as in my very first semester. You go to college, you're around a group of new people. I wanted to make friends, get involved with something. And so I joined AKPSI. At the time, I didn't know much about networking. I think networking is kind of one of those, almost like a hidden quality that going into the business field, you don't usually know about, right? It's kind of, you go to college to learn the technical skills, the hard skills, the textbook knowledge. And networking is one of those things that you kind of learn has to come with it, right? So, through AKPSI, I think AKPSI is an amazing venue or platform to start networking, because from the start, you're meeting other people who are like you. You're meeting people who are going off into careers, who are business degree people, even non-business degree people. That's really how I got started networking. Was you join the group, you meet people, and through Alpha Kappa Psi, you have to interview people when you join, right? So back in when I joined, I think it was like maybe we had to interview 20 or 30 brothers. So you set up time and you meet with people, and that's really what networking is at the heart of it, right? It's just getting to know people. It's building those personal connections. And, it just kind of evolves from there, right? And you look back and you learn how to network, but at the time you don't even really know that that's what you're doing. It's kind of just meeting people and making friends. And then that sort of evolves into a professional form of networking. And so I think that really helps you down the road is really just starting off by being yourself and making connections.
In Alpha Kappa Psi, we spend a lot of time with professional development. Examples of this can include resume critiques, interviewing skills, business cards, and much more. Stephen Zhang, during his time in the chapter, was very prominent about helping the professional development scene in Alpha Kappa Psi. He was the Vice President of Membership in 2017, and I've asked him to come today to speak on professional development within the chapter.
I am Stephen Zhang. I went to the College of Business, double majored in accounting and finance. I've had about 4 internships throughout undergrad, and 3 of them were with Fortune 500 companies. And then currently I work at Rock Central. I would say there's really 2, when you think about it, in my opinion, there's 2 big components. So one is mentorship, and mentorship to me comes in 2 different forms. So one is formal mentorship and one is informal mentorship. And when you join an organization as big as AKPSI, it can come in both ways. So when you first start out in the pledge process, your formal mentor is your bit, right? But then in terms of informal mentorship, it can come through any of the brothers, any of the friends you make along the way. And informal mentorship is pretty much the same as just making friends and talking to people randomly in the hallway or at different events, just to learn about their experiences and their backgrounds and how you can learn from that and how you could potentially help them in the future. So for me, mentorship and informal mentorship, or formal and informal, were two big ways that it really helped me start to develop these skills professionally. So throughout the pledge process, my formal mentor would help me through the different phases of what we needed to do. So for example, networking, building resumes, passing some of the exams that we had to go through. That was all a very formalized process, right? But the informal mentorship, the relationships I was able to build throughout the pledge process, some of my lifelong friends in the org, I really took advantage of that because throughout our conversations at school, we would talk about how to write a better resume. We would talk about some of the dream companies we wanted to work at one day as an intern or as a full-time. We would talk about things that we wanted to develop in ourselves over time. And so just these conversations really sort of help you form and understand kind of what direction you want to go. Because eventually all these conversations and experiences, you really get a feel for what you want to pursue, hopefully. And then you also go try it out. And then you're like, okay, is this something I want to do? And then if not, you talk to your friends again, you're like, okay, this is not something I want to do. And then just continuing to have those conversations with people around you and valuing their input and listening to their feedback as well can really just help you grow.
One of the main aspects of Alpha Kappa Psi is brotherhood. Brotherhood is creating a bond among brothers, including lifelong friendships, mutual respect, and plenty of social events. Two of the brothers that have really exemplified brotherhood during their time in the chapter were James Steele and Sean Nowak. And I've asked both of them to come today to speak a little bit more about how brotherhood has impacted them.
Hey everyone, my name is Sean Nowak. I graduated from the U of M Dearborn College of Business in the spring of 2018, where I majored in supply chain management. Since then, I've pursued a career in logistics, specifically analytics, and after a couple different promotions, I now work as a financial analyst at a privately held company called United Road.
So I'm James Steele. I'm currently a senior majoring in finance. I plan on graduating in April of 2021 and getting into the finance field after I graduate.
Well, Alpha Kappa Psi is a very different organization in so many ways. I remember when I would be talking to the potential new members at recruitment events, I said, okay, there are two sides to this whole fraternity. There's the professionalism side, from which you can gain a lot from. And then there's also the brotherhood side. And I feel like different members take advantage of those two sides in different sums. And for me, I felt like I got a lot out of the professionalism side, especially when I was at the University of Toledo, which is where I did my pledging before I transferred to U of M Dearborn. And so I feel like I had gained a lot from that, and I wanted to give back to the chapter as much as possible. So I wanted to be a mentor for other people while also really driving home this aspect of brotherhood where you can meet so many other like-minded individuals and you're going to share all these memories with these people that you went to school with. And it's going to be more and more difficult to develop those kinds of relationships once you graduate from school. So for me, I was always really pushing brotherhood because I felt like I had made so many good friendships with people I don't think I would normally have been friends with otherwise. There are a number of people from Alpha Kappa Psi, in fact, quite a bit of them that I'm still friends with today that I either graduated with or maybe even people that graduated after me that graduated after me that I got to know because I came back in my first couple of semesters as an alumnus of the organization. And wearing those letters, AKPSI, represents something larger than yourself in a way. And I think all of us when we've gone through the different requirements and the rituals and everything that's involved, it puts you in a position where you feel like you're connected to these other people in a way that you're not connected to other people on campus with.
So on New Year's Eve, I found out that on Christmas Eve, I was in contact with somebody who had COVID. So I went and got rapid tested, and it came back positive. And I was, gonna have a couple people over for New Year's and celebrate with some brothers. Turns out I couldn't do it. So I told everyone. I was, pretty bummed out about it. I was feeling good, nothing to worry about there. But then the next day, I just get like a random text from a couple alumni, Sean and Chelsea. They're like, hey, check your porch. And I go outside, there's a bottle of champagne. There's a little letter saying like, hey, hope you guys are doing all right. Like, I know it's like tough not being able to celebrate the year and so on and so on forth. And it just really made me feel pretty special. And then a day or two later, I get a message from Bianca, another alumni. And I go out on my porch and there's this whole bag. There's like a bunch of food in it. There's just everything you can eat. There's like cheese, there's fruit, there's snacks like Pringles, and just everything you can ask for. And I'm just like, it just made me and Andy feel really, like it made me really feel the brotherhood, because like I never even knew these guys a couple years ago, and they see something like, unfortunate happened to me, and they go out of their way to make sure I feel comfortable. And that was really awesome to see.
There are a number of different examples of brotherhood I can think of, especially in my last semester, as I started to become a little bit closer to several of the other members and pledges as well. But one of the most prominent examples I can think of is we were on our way back from Chicago after the Principal Business Leadership Institute's experience, which is always fantastic, and in and of itself is just a great demonstration of brotherhood, because it's so many people coming together and spending all this time together. And I remember that we took the train together on the way there and back, and that was an exciting time on the way back. But it was snowing very heavily, and there was a massive snowstorm. And so we got back, and all of our cars were snowed in completely. And a lot of people were stuck in the snow and they couldn't get out. And I think it was probably like midnight, because the train had been a little bit delayed too. So all these different brothers were staying several minutes after they probably could have already left, because their car wasn't stuck, to help other people get their cars out and to push these cars out of the snow. This was a physically grueling task, and there were a number of brothers that were involved in this. And it just showed how much we all care about each other and how much we respect each other. And this is what ultimately builds up these friendships and these relationships. And these are the moments you remember well after you graduate. And I don't know if a lot of other people necessarily remember that moment specifically, but that's really something that stuck with me, because it's like, okay, if I'm ever in a bind, these people will have my back.
If you ever choose to join Alpha Kappa Psi, we have quite the fraternity hierarchy and lots of chances to take leadership opportunities. As you can see here, it starts from the president and goes down to multiple levels. All of these positions you have the opportunity to take within Alpha Kappa Psi, and it can look really good on a resume. To talk more about these opportunities, I have asked Brother Ian Halawadi, who was the president in 2019, to come talk about leadership within the chapter and what benefits you can receive from it.
My name is Ian Halawadi. I've been at U of M Dearborn since the fall of 2017. I'll be graduating this semester, winter 2021, majoring in ISM and finance, and I'm currently working as a product manager with Ford. And who knows where I'll go into the future. The three things that I really felt I learned and tried to focus on the most during my time as president of the chapter was, of course, servant leadership. We teach this very full force within the fraternity of being a leader through example, or making sure that you're not just telling people, go do this. You're understanding why it needs to be done, and you're making sure that who's ever doing it understands why they are the one that's doing it. From there, empathetic listening, just being able to, I'm always running a mile a minute within my brain, so being able to kind of sit down in a conversation and just shut up and not be thinking of how am I going to answer this, what am I going to say, or oh my God, they keep talking kind of thing. Being able to sit there and say, all right, let me put myself in their shoes. What's going on? How can I help? How can I be a part of the situation and stop being a part of the problem if that's the case? And just, always trying to be there for the brothers as much as possible was my goal as well. I didn't want to be seen as, and I think we worked really hard at that, Ryan, him being on my e-board as well, as we just worked very hard as trying not to be seen as a clique. I think as an e-board, we wanted it to be seen as, we're servant leaders. We're what you guys want us to be. We're not here to do everything and then you guys just listen to us kind of thing.
So where do we go as brothers? In your time at Alpha Kappa Psi, you have the opportunity to go to 2 different conferences that are focused on professional development and meeting brothers across the world. One of these is convention, and former locations of this has been Las Vegas, Dallas, and Miami. And the other one is Principled Business Leadership Institute, which is every year held in Chicago, Illinois. Now, obviously, COVID-19 has impacted these events, but we expect them to pick up relatively soon. To talk more about PBLI, which is the annual conference that offers programming to help build professional skills, I have asked brothers Edward Margina and Ryan Sutton to come talk about their PBLI experience and what you can expect to receive by attending this conference.
So my name is Ryan Michael Sutton. I am a graduate student who is majoring in accounting, going for my Master's of Science in Accounting specifically. And I am currently working for Raymond.
So my name is Edward Margina. I'm currently a senior. I'm going to be graduating after winter of 2022. And my major is supply chain management, and my future plans are either to go do something with supply chain or possibly go into politics and work in government.
The PBLI is a business conference in which you get a lot of really knowledgeable people with, a variety of different experiences. You get them all into the same hotel area where they can present on such a wide variety of topics, like are specific to careers like, negotiating promotions or determining your salary or determining fringe benefits. And then you also have things like how do you buy a house and going through that entire process. So it's a great experience in order to kind of evaluate where you are in terms of your life and to kind of gain more knowledge on a variety of things. Like you can get a bunch of knowledge on anything you want, really. Ultimately, you are in Chicago generally, or a semi-major city. And that's going to really give you the opportunity to explore, because PBLI's events are not an all-day thing. You have the opportunity to go out and go see, say, the Bean, or go to Hancock Tower, for instance. And you have so many different experiences there because you have the professional side of things, but you also have, hanging out with the people that you came with. For us, we get on a train, we go 4 hours there, we spend 2 nights there, and then we take the train back. And it is just, there were so many good memories there. I actually got to know one of my now best friends, Edward, from that trip. Like, that was the thing that really got us talking, got us to start knowing, each other, got us communicating. Because prior to that, we really didn't talk, even though we were part of the same chapter. And then you get so many different chapters as well, because you're all in the same hotel. It's honestly, it's a very cool experience. Very cool.
The events that they had, the workshops, to me, I actually found them very helpful. And it was something that I personally was worrying about. Like, the last one I went to was about relocating and moving to a new city for a new job. That's something that I kind of want to do in the future. But it was kind of scaring me, just the whole idea of relocating. So going to that seminar, talking to people, getting different tips, that helped kind of calm my nerves and helped kind of give me a good start, a good plan, basically, a good base. And also other things that I just, like, before AKPSI, I knew I wanted to go into business, but didn't know too much. I've never been a professional guy. So certain things like negotiating your salary, I learned how to do there. Buying a house, all that kind of stuff. Certain things that I just haven't been taught yet, I got to learn there.
To talk about convention, which is the 4-day-long fraternity event which occurs every 2 years, I have asked Brother David Muse to come speak about his experience at convention and what you can expect if you attend.
My name is David Muse. I graduated December 2020, so just a recent grad. I majored in finance, minored in IT, and right now I'm up to, I'm actually setting a bunch of interviews up for analyst position in finance. Just to kind of touch in that field, I've done planning and I want to try the analyst field now. So AKPSI convention, I went into it with a brief understanding that you're going to get professionalism taught to you as well as the brotherhood aspect. One of the reasons why you join. I went down there and I got both. It was kind of unexpected, like I said in the beginning, and then when I got down there, you learn a lot from people's past experiences. You gain knowledge on how to move forward through life. Whether it's professionally, spiritually, or just mentally, building on your mental strength on how to get through certain situations in the business world and life. And then you connect on that brotherhood. You meet a lot of people who graduated 30 years ago and meet a lot of people who are just freshmen coming into college. So you get a range of experiences of people who, like I said, are just starting out, so they'll ask you a lot of questions. And then you'll be able to ask questions from people with a lot of wisdom. Like I said, graduated 30 years ago. Yeah, you just go in there and you learn as much as you can. You got to be a sponge. It teaches you a lot. I've learned a lot. I've taken a lot. Met a lot of cool people. I've met people I have in my phone from New Jersey, from even the UK. It's a great experience for you to build yourself up as a person and a human being. For me, it was actually they give you a pamphlet before on who's speaking. And I noticed a guy on there who was an entrepreneur. I looked up his LinkedIn, and he was very successful. And I noticed it was different from our in Chicago, where we go and go see those. But I wanted to see, what was this guy about. So I went in there, and he kind of teaches you how to be ahead of yourself and how to be ahead of your competition. And he teaches you ways to do it. I'll even show you a stack right here. These are the books he recommended. And I bought every single one of them. There's actually 5 more. And he said just read these. And once you start reading like that, it teaches you, you kind of get in the mind of the people that are successful. And you kind of want to build off what they're doing and kind of change your own ways into it as well.
That is just a brief overview of what AKPSI can do for you. So a big question might be, what does pledging AKPSI look like? For this, I have asked VP of Membership Autumn Tashman to come present on what it takes to become a brother of Alpha Kappa Psi.
My name is Autumn Tashman. I am the VP of Membership for AKPSI. I ended up pledging winter 2020, so last year. I'm majoring in actuarial math, so it's not a business major, but all majors are welcome, so here I am in AKPSI. But I'm also minoring in Spanish and accounting. And what I do as VP of Membership, I work very closely with the pledge educators for the pledge education program for incoming members. So that's really fun. And I also work on keeping brothers engaged. So what is AKPSI's pledge program? Today, Ryan and I will be going through what exactly our pledge program looks like and the benefits that you can get out of pledging for Alpha Kappa Psi.
So the pledge process is essentially a trial run. Every single member in our chapter has gone through this process, and it's basically the first step to literally becoming a brother in this chapter. Basically, it depends on the year or what semester you pledge in, but it's between 7 to 9 weeks, and we do all kinds of fun stuff, including professional development, socializing with brothers, and your pledge class. And we learn about the fraternity's rich history, and man, is it rich. We've been around since 1901, and there's so much more. It's such a blast. Hopefully, you guys get to experience it a little bit in person, but, with COVID, we're doing our best online.
Yes, still very interactive. It's still fun. We're making the most out of a bad situation. So, what exactly do the pledge meetings look like? We get this question pretty often, so we want to make it clear for any incoming pledges what exactly they should be expecting throughout this semester. So what it is, 2 to 3 brothers in the fraternity will be like your pledge educators or your pledgeducators that run the meetings and teach you guys about professionalism and the fraternity in general. You will listen to about 6 modules created by brothers. Usually it is your pledge educators of our chapter that touch base with topics like interviewing or risk management, which is super important, especially if you haven't had too many opportunities to learn about professional development or professionalism. So these modules are super beneficial to listen into. And then your pledge meetings are separate from your chapter meetings. Pledges will be in a meeting separate from the rest of our chapter. So once you do become an official member, then you will be transitioning into the chapter meetings.
So in recent semesters, the tasks and assignments pledges are asked to complete are 1 to 3. So if you ask a lot of some of the older brothers, this was a little different for them, but this is something that will very likely be a part of your pledge process and in many pledge processes to come in the future. So the first one is the brother interviews, and this is the best part of the pledge process because this is how you get to know the brothers. When you're pledging, you only spend a lot of time with your pledge class at the pledge meetings, but these brother interviews allow you to get to know those who are already in the chapter with these one-on-one conversations, and people have learned a lot, and they built genuine connections from these. So once you get in, you know brothers, and you're not, just thrown into something where you only know your pledge class and your pledge educators. Number 2, the fraternal exam. This is our way of helping you get to understand the fraternity's history, because it's only fun to be an AKPSI if you understand why we have the values that we have and where we came from. So the fraternal exam is just essentially a way of making sure you have that knowledge, and we help you study for it. We give you all the resources you need. It's honestly a great time. You learn a lot. And lastly, mid-court, which is a mock interview that helps prepare pledges for the real world. Think about it as something like, going into a corporate interview, a phone screen. It's just a chance for the brothers to get to know you better and about your personal aspirations. Why do you want to be an AKPSI? It's not meant to be scary. It's meant to be a very good educational experience. And for some people, it's their first interview ever. So it's a great experience.
And we do have 2 more assignments that are usually expected in, especially in recent semesters. One of them is the personal brand presentation. So while you guys get the chance to know who we are, especially through your brother interviews, we want to get the chance to know who you are. And this, through your personal brand presentations, this gives us the chance to learn more about who you are and what your personal brand is. The last and final assignment is Court of Honor. And what this is, it's somewhat similar to mid-court, but how it works is that you are going to collaborate with other pledges to create this presentation reflecting on your experiences throughout your entire pledge process. And then a panel of brothers or alumni will ask you a series of questions based on your experiences throughout the pledging process.
So it's not all about the work and the assignment. We have fun. This about being in the fraternity is that you can grow professionally and still have a great time. I know I have during my time in college. So, you get to have a big. My big, I met her 4 years ago, and I still have a relationship with her. She was actually in this video. Her name's Chelsea McWilliams. She is fantastic. So one of the first friends I had in the fraternity, and someone I hope to keep lifelong because she's a great mentor and a great person overall. Social events, we've had Taco Tuesday, game nights, happy hour. I mean, whatever you imagine, and whatever you want to, because you can make your own events when you get in. It's awesome. We get to hang out and build those lifelong connections together. It's amazing. And like Autumn said, close connections with the other pledges. You might have seen Ian throughout this video. Ian is someone who was in my pledge class, and look at us now. We're still rolling here in the fraternity, having a good time and giving back. Online has made this a little more challenging, but one of our big values is service, and we like to give back. We do things such as Fleece and Thank You, which is making blankets for kids in the hospital. And it really helps you fulfill yourself and grow better as a leader because you give back to the community. for what you've been given and getting blessed to have the opportunities. The last one that I think is so important is that you make friends in your classes. So throughout my college experience, because of AKPSI, I've known so many people. It makes it so much easier when the professor is assigning group work, because you get to work with people that you know and that you trust. And that is something that is very, very important, especially going through colleges. You want to work with people that you trust and that you know will do quality work. And that's what AKPSI Brothers stand for. So it's a great way to help yourself, not just professionally, but academically as well. So why Alpha Kappa Psi? We are the only business fraternity on campus open to all majors. You will open yourself up to a plethora of opportunities. You will develop personally around value-driven professionals, and you will create a series of lifelong friendships and memories. Does that sound good? We think so too. How to join? Just use this link, tinyurl.com/AKPSI Fall 2021. We will stay in touch over the summer, and in the fall, you will be considered for admission. Thank you for your time, and we hope to see you in the fall.